Hi guys, thanks for joining me. For anybody new around here, I probably ought to introduce myself. I'm Caroline, I'm 50, I live in Devon, and I have been an online seller for around 15 years now, maybe a little bit more. I've been full-time for the last 3.5 years. I sell mostly on eBay, a little bit on Etsy, and very occasionally on Amazon as well. I make videos about all sorts of things, reselling being one of them. If you are not subscribed already, I would love you to hit that subscribe button and the little bell. And with all that being said, let's talk about what I'm actually here to talk about. How to be a better reseller. When I first wanted to make a video about this, I started jotting notes down, and I thought it's quite an interesting topic in terms of these are my thoughts, but I'd love to get other people's opinions on it as well. Whilst you can get, you know, conversation going down in the comments, and that's always great, and I really enjoy reading all the comments, I thought it would be really useful for you guys out there watching this to get this from a different perspective than just mine. So what I did, I asked on Instagram, that we have quite a big UK reselling community on Instagram, and I asked, what is the one thing you've learned in 2018? How have you upped your reselling game, or what's one thing you've learned? And I got loads and loads of responses, really interesting selection of answers, some which directly contradicted each other, which was fine, you know. Everybody isn't dancing to the same tune here. Everybody has to do what works for them. And yeah, just a vast array of really interesting responses, and I wanted to incorporate all those into this video. And I thought the easiest way to do it is what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk you through my bit, which is, I think I made 7 points about how to be a better reseller, how I think you can up your game a little bit. And we're going to go into the second part of the video after I finish talking, which is all the responses I got to that question, and I've typed them all out onto like slides to add on to the end of this video, and I have tagged them with the name of the Instagram name of the person who answered. So that will give you a whole bunch of new people to go and follow on Instagram if you don't follow them already and you want to follow other resellers for inspiration, and hopefully you'll find all of it interesting. Right, that's a 3.5 minute intro, and I haven't even got into the content yet. Goodness me. So sorry, I'm looking down here. I have made notes. I don't often make proper notes for a video. I sometimes scribble a few, but I've actually typed them out today. So very efficient. But so the first point I wanted to make was to take inspiration from other people, but don't copy them. And I think what I mean by this is that when I first started reselling, there wasn't any such thing as a reselling community. The community's been around really for less than 5 years in this country, although there was one in the States far before us. That was sort of the forerunner, if you like. There wasn't YouTube, there wasn't Instagram, there wasn't Facebook. And whilst I think the community is an absolutely brilliant thing, I think it does get very easy to get caught up in it as a newcomer and think, oh, well, if I go out and buy that Marks and Spencer's dress or some Lego, I can make money, and that will be... And directly copying other people doesn't really work. You have to, I believe, to achieve any level of success, medium to long term in this field, you need to dance to your own tune to a certain extent. I think here's an example of where getting involved in the community didn't work for me massively well, was that I would get so caught up in seeing other people's pickups and things that I'd never thought of picking up myself. For example, I have a carrier bag of Power Rangers in my death piles, unlisted, that I've had for approximately 3 years. Am I ever going to list them? Probably not. Why did I pick them up? Because I saw someone making money out of Power Rangers. And I thought, oh, I saw that, I'll get those and then I can make some money out of them. But I don't like Power Rangers. I hate kids' plastic toys. I'm never going to list them. I'm not interested in them. So you have to dance to your own tune, bang your own drum, however you like to put it. So take inspiration, but don't copy directly, because it's probably not for you. If you're not passionate about it, you're not going to list it and you won't enjoy it. Point 2 is another one that I think comes from having done this for a long time. When I first started going to car boots and boot sales and buying stuff to resell, there wasn't such a thing as smartphones. We couldn't look up, but oh, I'll just check that to see if it makes money or not. And whilst I do appreciate that phones have their place and it is sometimes useful to be able to check whether something you've seen is going to be worth picking up or not, I think the most important thing for me is to trust your gut. I really believe that to be a successful reseller, you have to trust your gut to a certain extent. And all the most successful resellers I know are people who trust their gut and develop a knowledge of their field. Get your head out of your mobile phone. Don't be checking up every single thing. Yes, a mobile phone has its place and it's good to be able to double check, especially when you're starting out. But this is really aimed at more sort of slightly longer term, not huge, but not absolute beginners, but slightly longer term resellers. Get your head out of your phone, trust your gut instinct, and you will learn so much more than sitting tapping away at completed listings on eBay. Yes, that has its place, but not all the time. My third tip is all about the numbers. We're all in this to make money. It's hard work and your numbers have to work. If you buy something for £2 at a charity shop or a car boot sale and you sell it for £10, you haven't made £8. You need to be honest with yourself about the amount of money it's costing you. And I see there are people who have made spreadsheets that calculate their profit. I think Zahir's made one and Mel from Sparrow's End has recently linked one. So I think they've linked them so you can go and borrow them as well or download them, whatever to use for yourself. So there's that. But also bear in mind your time, and I don't see enough talk about this. Put a value on your time. Your time is worth a lot of money. And whilst yes, you take off your eBay fee, your PayPal fee, your packaging, your postage, all of this, factor all of that in, but don't forget to factor in your time, because your time is valuable. You must do that. I do worry sometimes when I see people posting their sales on the social media with the hashtag UK Reseller. I do worry that people aren't being realistic about all the factors and costs involved, and I think that it's important that we all do that so we are clear about how much money we're actually making. Number 4 is change. It's very easy, and I'm one of these people as well that gets stuck in a rut. When you work for yourself, when you work from home, when you're not surrounded by lots of different people, it's very easy to get stuck in the ways you do. Oh, I do that because I've always done it that way. Oh, I send the things with Hermes because I've always done it with Hermes. Is there a different option? Is there a better way of doing things? I constantly look for change in myself. I think that's another really important thing for working for yourself, to look for ways to change, to look for ways to do things better, to look for ways to change processes. Recently on Instagram there's been a lot of talk about the bulk listing tool. I've been using this for a while. I dip in and out of it. Sometimes I use it, sometimes I don't. But make the listing process faster. A lot of people are having really, really good results with that. So that's a change that, a positive change that you can make to spend less time on stuff, which goes back to cost and the amount of time we're spending doing stuff. All these things are interlinked. But yeah, constantly looking for better ways to do things, different ways to do things is a really important part of being a good reseller. Number 5 is to set realistic, achievable goals that will inspire you and to achieve them. Which sounds so simple, doesn't it? Goals work for me. I get very motivated, and the best way for me to set goals is monthly. I feel like a month at a time is a really good way of setting goals that I don't get too bored with them. I can reset at the end of the month. It's just a good amount of time to achieve something meaningful. And yeah, I've been making videos about my goals for about 2 years now. I think I'll link the playlist up here for you if you haven't seen them and you want to go and look. But I feel like it makes me accountable, it holds me accountable. And I've noticed in the last few months a lot of people on Instagram doing the same for their monthly goals. And it's really interesting to see other people's goals and again take inspiration from those and see what sort of targets other people are setting themselves. And I really liked seeing recently that some people don't set themselves listing goals in terms of numbers of listings, but in amount of value, which again I thought was a really interesting, different way of setting for me. And I got this from Fake Rachel on Instagram. I love these monthly goals listing. It's just if you can see that, it's just numbers. And my October 2018 eBay listings target is 350. I'm filming this on the 23rd, I think it is, and I am up to 238. And this is just such a visual thing. I really like having this. This really works for me, rather than just a number for the daily ticking off of these is something that really works for me. So find a way that works for you. So find a way to motivate yourself to hit the number of listings you want, or floss your teeth every day, or whatever you want to do. I really like monthly goals. I think it's really an important part of my job to me. Tip number 6 is, I didn't know how to word this exactly, but I think it's about being realistic and honest with yourself. This is a tough job. I think people can see it on Facebook or YouTube particularly, and think, oh God, that's so easy, isn't it? Particularly from a sales video, you know, looking at, oh, she went and bought that and she sold it for that, and that's brilliant, isn't it? And it looks really easy. It's not. It's a lot of hours of hard graft, working by yourself, motivating yourself. I work probably more than full-time hours still. I've reduced my hours a lot this year, but I would say probably in excess of 40 hours a week, I think, if I'm honest with myself. I love it, so I don't mind doing that. I'm very happy. I'd much rather be doing this than working for someone else. But it can get lonely, it can be isolating, it can be stressful. For a lot of people, a better way of doing this is to run it alongside a part-time job as well, or a full-time job. People start it as a, you know, part-time gig, and there's no shame in not wanting to do this full-time. I see a lot of people I feel like a lot of people think that the perfect world would be to be a full-time reseller, and I don't actually think for everybody it is. I do struggle. Increasingly, I struggle with the isolation and working by myself. I've found ways to mitigate this over the years, but I do miss the buzz of being in an office with other people around me. I think it is quite hard. So unless you're I mean, I love my own company, but unless you're a person that really enjoys your own company, do you really want to be working towards spending 40 hours a week working by yourself at home? Because it's a tough gig. It's tougher than, you know, it is worth thinking about. My final tip, and this is an important one that I have only really learned or started managing in the last 12 months, is to take time out. Again, it's one of the side effects from working from home. You're constantly tempted to be working. Whenever you go out, you're looking for a charity shop. That's just normal. I don't think that'll ever change. But it is hard to switch off. I have had to be quite strict with myself with cut-off times, and I'm only now coming to have weekends off properly, or at least blocks of 2 days at a time, I should say, rather than weekends, because weekends are always busy with packaging and car boot sales. But you do need to do that. You must take time out. You will burn out, and you will end up with health problems if you continue to work 70 hours a week. I promise you, that's what happened to me. Burnout is a real thing. Right, that brings us to the end of my part of this video, and I am going to hand over to all my Instagram friends now. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please leave me a thumbs up, and I will speak to you soon. Bye bye.